Okay, there we go. Okay, way more chill, right? Okay, perfect. I really like the Bone Bottom theme. Maybe ought to do a tier list at some point of all of the tracks in Silksong, but man, are there some good ones. Okay, now we're officially starting. I'm gonna officially start the tier list from now. I'm gonna put the Hunter Crest, starting with Hunter Crest, non-upgraded. I'm gonna put it in D. I just don't see a reason to use it, honestly. It's not that great. As for the Hunter first upgrade and second, I rate them basically the same. I feel like they have insane damage potential. Like, they have insane damage potential, but they're not all that wieldy. You know what I mean? The bind has no special effect to it. Instead, the gimmick with it is that if you can land like 8, I think it's 8 or something like that, 6 to 8 consecutive hits without being hit yourself, you build up a damage boost. And it's pretty good. It's a fair damage boost. I'm sure if you used it with something like Flint Slate, you could end up doing nasty damage to enemies. But like, I'm thinking about this tier list in like as a standard playthrough, right? Sort of my experiences with it. And I think it's like a nice little bonus, but when you're first playing through the game, you're not really going to capitalize on it all that often. On most bosses, you're going to take hits every now and then. And if you're not, and you're like speedrunning, I mean, it's like the best in the game. It's like S tier. But like when you don't take any damage, everything is S tier. Like the crappiest items in the game are S tier because you never use them, because you never get hit, because you don't need to, because you're just like pro ultra, right? So I'm thinking like B. I'm thinking like B for them. They don't really offer anything that like helps you really beat the game your first time through, especially maybe like on a subsequent playthrough. But yeah, no, something I didn't check with it is using the magnetite dice with it, because there could be some good synergy there and not resetting your hits, right? All right, the next one I got, I think, was Reaper. Now, Reaper Crest, it's slower attack speed than the others, and there are instances where something like Wanderer, where something like Wanderer, you hit like really fast with it, and if you can like knock down an enemy or something like that, sometimes you could be like, and you can hit them like 5 or 6 times, and with Reaper you might hit like 3. It's like overall damage per second is lower, like compared to the others, on like a stationary target. The thing is, almost any difficult boss in this game is like teleporting around the screen and has like a very brief downtime period when you stagger them. It's not really that big of a deal. It's not really that big of a deal. It's just, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just not something you can capitalize on, really. If we're like looking at the bosses, right? Skip some of the you won't have it at Lace, will you? Where do you get Reaper from? Where's the Chapel of the Reaper in? I think it's in Greymoor, so I think you would have already fought her most likely. Might use it for like the Savage Beastfly. He does have quite a few openings. Specifically, if he's like hovering right above you, you can get underneath him and attack a lot. So maybe he has more. I don't remember Skull Tyrant. You're on the ceiling. Oh yeah, when you jump to attack with your needle, the faster attack speed of the Wanderer or, you know, Beast or whatever doesn't matter. You can only do like one attack before your character falls out of range, and you don't even until you have the double jump. Well, even when you do get the double jump, that's an animation before you can do your second hit. So it's hit, double jump, hit. So it doesn't matter how fast your attack speed is, you can't sneak in more attacks. So Sister Splinter is on the ceiling, so you can't get more attacks on her, and same with the big guy that's in the lava, the fourth chorus, right? His head, which is his only weak point, is on the ceiling, and same with Nihilith. You can't be on the ground and go dirt, 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 and just hit Nihilith like 12 times. She's on the wall, so you can only do a single hit, pogo, claw lines. You're not doing multi-hits. I believe Pale Stag was sort of the same way, so there's a lot of enemies, and then that's not counting like the kind of teleporting enemies, right? Phantom's not going to sit still and let you hit him a whole bunch. Trobio's not going to stand still and let you hit him a whole bunch. Grohl the Great is generally floating up kind of in the air and more used pogos. The Unraveled, you maybe a little bit, you can get a few more in. On the ceiling, so you can't. On the, well, kind of in the background, but you're bouncing off between them. On the ceiling, like, I did this one off stream. It's one of the only two with Unraveled that I did off stream. Got me 100%. That was the only thing I was missing, is the tool from this. So it on the ceiling, so it doesn't help. You see what I mean, though? Because I've seen multiple shorts now, and they're like, the Wanderer Crest has the highest damage. It's like, on what? On what bosses? You guys are crazy. Like, 90% of them are teleporting. I didn't even talk about the teleporting bosses, right? You've got, like, the first Sinner that teleports around, Chakra teleports around, second Sentinel teleports around, Lost Lace teleports around, the Stag teleports around, so anything that's on the ceiling or that teleports, it doesn't matter how fast your needle attacks. If it's on the ceiling, it's the same attack speed, and if they teleport, you get in one hit and they're gone anyways. Like, I don't know, people are just, like, they just don't get it. So, attack speed is, what I'm saying is, attack speed is, like, extremely, extremely, extremely overrated in a lot of instances. Now, on regular enemies, it's a little bit better. But normal enemies only die in like 2-3 hits anyways, so it's not that big of a deal. So I'm not holding the slower attack speed back too much on Reaper. I don't think that's that big of an issue. I didn't really talk about the Pogo of Hunter because I think it's good. It just takes some getting used to. Pogo on Reaper is really good. It has a huge arcing sweep downwards, so it's like really easy to land consistently. And its sort of gimmick is after you bind, which is a normal heal, and you can use it in the air or on the ground, then if you hit the enemy without taking a hit yourself, over the next few seconds you generate some extra silk. On a first time playthrough, I was mostly using this just to get the silk for an extra bind, because you need to hit the enemy so many times to get enough silk to bind. But the better you are at the game, there's sort of like a little bit of a upward curve in how many spells you could use with the better you get, just in general with the game, because if you're not using your silk to heal, you could use more spells. And unlike the Hunter Crest, which is, if you're taking hits at all, it basically goes into the garbage, right? With Reaper, you could still take some hits and heal yourself some, but if there's times that you're not having to use your silk for healing, but you're, or not all the time, but maybe sometimes, you're just building up extra silk to use for maybe a spell instead of a bind. So I feel like it's a little bit more user-friendly in general. The gimmick of it, recovering silk, is really good for players like myself that mostly just used it for, like, the extra binds that we would get, right? That's all I really used the extra silk for. But I also think that you could use it once you start to get a little bit better at the game, and you could use it either for those extra binds or for potentially some more spells to end things faster. I just feel like for a first time, even second time playthrough, you get a lot of use out of it. And it's got good charm notches too. It doesn't really show them on here, but I think it's got like 222 or something like that. I know it has like yeah, I think it's 222. Wait, that's Hunter's 222. I don't remember. Maybe it only has one yellow notch. I didn't use the red tools a ton. But I don't know. It seemed like I always had what I wanted on it, though, right? Like, if you used Weave Light, you're getting 1 extra strand of silk from your regen. You get Druid's Eyes, so you get 2 extra half silks. And then you bind yourself, and then when you hit the enemies, you get a few more extra half silks, and you maybe get an extra line. And then you take another hit, Druid's Eyes triggers again, and that gives you another 2 strands of silk, plus you're still generating the 1 extra baseline from Weave Light. So you can end up with a lot of silk. It's just very easy to use, and it's good for when you're better at the game too, because you can use more spells and they can hit pretty hard. So yeah, whether you're using it to like trying to kind of get through the game, and you need something that has a decent pogo and that also has like good silk regen, a reusable heal, or you're a little bit better at the game and you're wanting to fit in a few more spells here and there but still play something comfortable, I think it's got you. Wanderer. So the Wanderer has the fastest attack speed. As I said, I don't really think this matters when it comes to like the bosses. I already gone over it, but anything that flies, any characters that teleport around the screen, like you can't, like, you try to fight Pinterest with Wanderer and say that Wanderer is like an S tier crest. Like, you're out of your mind. It has the most yellow charm slots, and yellow charm slots are cute. But aside from the magnetite dice, which probably should have been a blue charm, let's be real, because it's like defensive in nature and does something like actually tangible in combat rather than just like for exploration. I guess shrugging off a hit can be good for exploration too. But it has 3 yellow notches. I think it's got 2 red and 1 blue or something like that. I believe that's correct. So it doesn't have a whole bunch of, like, you can't just be spamming out red tools, so you do have a few options. You don't have a whole bunch of blue combos that you can do. So you've got a very quick attacking move. Now, its gimmick is to open up once you have enough silk to bind yourself, but you don't use it to bind. But you have enough to bind yourself. So this, until you get enough silk to fully bind yourself and another 4 strands, you're not going to use it. You're not going to use silk's skills. You're not going to use spells. Because if you do, you would, before you have that much silk, you wouldn't get your critical hit chance. So it actively disincentivizes using spells on the enemies in the middle of combat. Which, it's weird, right? Like, the better you get at the game and the less hits you're taking, the more silk you're building up and the more you want to use spells. If you take a hit, that happens, right? We're going to take hits. That's why I put Hunter in B tier. But you're going to take hits. In the case of Reaper, you took a hit, but you're not taking that many. Use that silk for spells. If you're taking more hits, use it for healing. But like for Wanderer, you're not wanting to use it at all. You're wanting to hoard at least enough of it to get off 1 heal. And when you're playing the game the first time, and especially you get into the late game, and the game gets harder, you're not often going to have a lot of silk, so much silk that you can heal yourself. Double damage kind of exacerbates this. But with double damage, you're gonna have to heal like every 2 hits. So to get advantage of the crit is kind of difficult. It also has the shortest range of any of the crests. So you can use things like Long Claw to sort of help with that. Its moveset is great though. Like I used it a lot. It's basically the Knights, right? I may be shorter range. It feels shorter range. But very fast attack speeds, great charged attack, great down pogo, huge DPS, but you don't quite have all the tools you would probably want with a lot more yellows than is actually helpful. Its damage in actual practice isn't that much higher, if higher at all, depending upon the boss you're fighting, than even Reaper. And its gimmick requires you to have so much silk you could heal yourself once to full. It feels wrong to give it B because it is better than Hunter Crest. I think so. I think it's better for exploration because of the extra yellow slot. You can get a lot of value out of that. Its pogo is amazing, and it's really good for just popping off, like, you know, small enemies. It has decent combo potential. It's really good. It's running attack to be able to, like, ricochet off of an enemy and then hit them like you can with Hunter and with Witch is... It's just solid. So it's not bad by any means, and I don't think it's like unusable or kind of unruly like the Hunter Crest is. Like it kind of plays against like players that are just kind of doing a standard playthrough, right? It's got way more value than that, but at the same time I don't think it's offering enough outside of that. It doesn't have enough blue slots. It doesn't have like a gimmick that's really that you're going to be able to capitalize on. And the faster attack speed but shorter range doesn't really help in a lot of bosses. It's a lie. It's like a complete lie. Alright, Beast Crest. I don't know if this is the order I found them in. I don't remember. But I did find Beast Crest pretty early on. So let's talk Beast. So... when it comes to game design, obviously everyone's gonna have their own like feelings towards things. I feel like Beast and Witch should have both had base healing. Like you could just heal when you press the button. Maybe it was one less. So you generally heal 3, 4 with the multi-binder. Maybe you would heal 2, 3 with the multi-binder, and then you could get some extra hits for the heal, right? So Beast Crest, you need to land your hits without getting hit. Getting hit doesn't immediately end the lifesteal effect, but it shortens the duration. So you want to be able to constantly hit enemies. Without the multi-binder, you can only heal 3 masks, so you need to hit the enemy 3 times. But I played this game, right? I played it, and there are a lot of enemies here that don't allow you to hit them 3 times. Sister Splinter, if she like disappears into the ceiling and can make like vines come down, she's not targetable. So unfortunately, it wouldn't be useful against her. Against, yo, Red Slaps, what's good? You made it. Yeah, you can be part of my solo discussion now. I'd like a second voice. Do I remember a lot of these bosses? Yes, actually I do. There are a few of these I don't think I fought, which is weird because I went back and fought the Volt Worm, and that was the last boss I needed for this tool down here, and that was 100% completion when I fought Lost Lace again. So, but some of these I haven't fought. I don't remember this thing, and I have no idea what the hell that is. So, apparently I've missed some stuff. But, right now I am discussing when it comes to the Beast Crest, like where I'm gonna put it. And I feel like its heal is good, but you do have to have bosses that don't disappear from the battlefield. So like Savage Beastfly, it's fine on. Fourth Chorus is fine. Some of these early guys, if you could even get Beast before then, you can't with Bell Beast. But like if Sister Splinter goes up into the ceiling, it's the same thing sort of that I said with Wanderer to Reapers. But if they're on the ceiling, you can't attack faster with Wanderers. Wanderers got a faster like attack speed on the ground, but it's no faster on the ceiling. So with Beast Crest, you can't even just like quickly get your health back. It's jump, hit, jump, hit, jump, hit, and that's assuming she doesn't teleport or go in the ceiling, because when she does, she's not targetable. And I feel like there's a lot of enemies that go untargetable. Trobio can go underground whenever he wants. Groll's flying, so you could use Beast. There is that trick that you told me about that people were doing where you go Beast Crest and then get eaten on purpose. So that actually sounds really funny and strong. So maybe I can't really speak too much on that. You could probably make it work on Unraveled. The crazy chef. I can't even read what that says here. Can I zoom in? The Disgraced Legoli or something like that. Yeah, I don't remember her name, but I remember moveset quite well. First Sinner teleports. Kragler's on the ceiling, and you can only get a few hits in before he disappears underground. There's no enemies to hit here, so you literally can't heal even if you go in with full Silk. I think you could actually use Beast against Carmelita, but it would be tough because she kind of also does teleport. On the ceiling, so going to be a little bit harder to attack consistently. Oh, this is the Raging Conch, the first one. They show its dead body. Oh, that's good. That's why I didn't understand what that was. Okay. I don't know. So I feel like there are a decent chunk, but anything that goes invulnerable, Trobio, probably Seth because of the block. Oh, the block for Carmelita would make Beast way tougher. I totally forgot about the random blocking she does. Because if she blocks your attack, you won't get the heal off. Lost Lace, obviously, final boss, teleports around. Pinterest like flies around and like flaps her cape thing, and she's like, "Arrgh!" And she's like up in the sky. Nihilith isn't on the ground, so you'd have to use pogos. And whether you like the beast pogo or not, it's a little slow, right? There's that startup animation before you dive in, so hitting with it 3 times to get your 3 HP back. And if you're using multi-binder, you'd have to hit 4 times to get 4 back. And is that reasonable? It's not reasonable on Pale Stag, on Nihilith, on Seth, probably not on Carmelita. I forgot about the blocking, plus she's very kitey. Not reasonable on Trobio. It's just not very functional. Now, if this allowed you to once again heal 2 with multi-binder 3, and then you got some extra for attacking, I would understand it, but that's not how it works, right? You only get the healing when you hit, and just like a lot of the bosses, the way they're functionally designed in the game makes it so it doesn't work, right? If you do get hit, the window is shortened that you can get health back too. You do get a damage boost with it, and the damage boost with Flint Slate is nuts. I've done a little bit of testing with it, and it does seem insane. So right before you heal, you pop Flint Slate, use it, but it's niche, right? It's very niche. It also only has, is it 1 blue slot? No, it has 0 blue slots. It has 0. The only way I had it is because of the extra charm notches. I forget what it's called, the ones on the side. So you have 0 blue charm notches by default. So you can never use any combination of any of the blues. It's one of the reasons I prefer the charm system in Hollowknight. So you can never use any combination of 2. I don't know. I feel like in more situations it's worse than Hunter. Because if you're exploring, it's definitively worse. It doesn't have the defenses. Depending upon what boss you're fighting, it's equally unruly. It's like, you can use it, and the damage boost is nice, but you just might not get the healing, and it could lead to just, like, failed runs. I want to like it more, but without being able to get your HP back guaranteed with extra on hits, because, like, Reaper is, like, your bind heals you, and you get extra silk on hit. But then you have Beast, which is, like, you don't get healing unless you hit. And I don't know why they didn't kind of keep them to the same standard. Like, I don't know. Kind of strange. So I'm thinking C, right? There's a clear difference between it and Hunter, which isn't actively like working against the player in any way. It's just once again general tier list. If you're like a speedrunner or playing the game perfectly, everything is S tier. There's probably things that are more S tier, right? In that case, why not use Beast? You're never getting hit anyways, because you're a pro gamer, so you're just using it for the damage boost and just winning at life. So I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to put your Beast Crest in C tier. I know you like that one, Red Slaps, but I have to. Now, Architect, on the other hand. Okay, so Architect is very, very weird. Architect is very weird. This is a hard one to grade. I hope they buff it in the Sea of Sorrows update. The sauce, SOS, that's actually really funny. I never saw the abbreviation until now. Yeah. I suspect we're getting a new Crest. Oh, almost for sure, right? Almost for sure. It's one of the... On a personal note, I think it's one of the coolest parts of the game. And now that I have gone in, now that I've beat the game, and I wanted to kind of like I wanted to try things out. I wanted to see what the game was like when it was made a little bit more... I modded it. I went in and I played with mods, and they're very simple, but I just wanted to see how the game felt, right? And one of them I found was to make like the Witch Crest heal baseline, and so I just made it heal, I think, for 2 base, and then you could get another 2 if you hit the enemies. And it's like, why wasn't that the baseline, right? So there's a lot of little tweaks I've made, and I was like, why wasn't this like the base game design? Like, it feels less hostile. So I don't know. That's getting into some weird territory though, when you start talking about like changing the game, because it's not actually how it is. But it's like, how does Beast Crest at this point not heal in a game that like there's gauntlets, bosses, and exploration / platforming? And if there are no enemies present, it just can't heal itself. Like, that's weird. It's just awkward. So I hope they buff it too. But it's just kind of not the best game design. Almost like an oversight in a game that's really good. But there's a lot of weird stuff like that, I'd say, in Silksong. Stuff that got maybe overlooked. So maybe they will buff it. That'd be cool. Returning to Architect, though. Architect is hard to grade, because it's kind of dependent on, like, if you have shell shards more than everything else. Like, it's S tier, not up to question. Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. Like, I can't argue it. I can't argue it, but it's also kind of like with an asterisk, right? So it's playing the widow fight music, right? That's this song. So, okay, so first of all, if you use your silk to reforge, and you use that instead of a heal, you are sacrificing a heal. However, if you're spamming out red tools like cog flies, conch cutters, I didn't really test this too much, but I know the curve claw itself is great, so it's just extra great. The flint slate, and you're getting some hits. The bombs, the pillet bombs, oh my gosh, I forget what they call those, polyp bombs? I don't know. Polyp pouch? Is that it? Something like that. You are doing insane amounts of damage. And you could potentially, on some bosses, blitz them out. And once you get the Blessing of Ava, and you're regenning silk at like a bench, you go in with full silk, you can spam cog flies out on the bench, sit back down on the bench and reforge them, go into the fight, you have a whole bunch of your tools you're throwing out, reforge once, and then do them all again, and you might have enough silk at the very end of the game to heal yourself a second time. Now, if you don't do that, right? Without the spam, I do think they're lesser. It is lesser. But I feel there's so many ways to get rosaries, and that's why this one's kind of weird to grade. And I haven't even talked about the lifeblood boost, right? Because the lifeblood boost, it fixes a core issue with a lot of these crests. And that's that, and it's the issue I had. I don't get to use spells, or the equivalent to spells, we'll get to that in a second, but you don't get to use spells if you're using your silk to heal. They're competing with each other. If you're a pro gamer, you're never getting hit. You can use your silk for spells because you're never getting hit. But like for a normal player, you don't get to use that. However, if you regenerate life over time because of Plasmium, which you can generally only do with Architect, or later in the game you can do with other crests if you go and collect it yourself, which is annoying. But if you do, you can then use all of your silk for spells and stuff and not healing yourself. And it goes crazy with Architect because although it doesn't have any spells, it essentially kind of does, asterisk, in that it can reforge its tools. So generally, you would have to decide, do I want to use my silk to reforge all my tools and go crazy on damage, or do I want to use it to heal? But if you're lifeblood, you just regenerate it over time. So do I want to use all my silk to reforge all of my tools and kill the boss faster? Yeah. There's no, or do I want to heal? You're already healing. So you can just spam out to it. Now, I didn't even do this on bosses because I knew that was going too far. So I like the lifeblood trick, and I think that alone is S tier on its own. Like, just the lifeblood thing on its own is S tier. I've also experimented with life regen in the modded version of the game, and if you have it on, I could see a Crest having just the effect of how powerful lifeblood is, having that in the game, and having no red, and like no red slots at all in compensation. Maybe not even a white slot, though that's a bit cruel because you want to use your silk for something, so okay, maybe a white slot, but not having any red slots at all. And maybe your heal works kind of like Witch does or Beast, where you have to hit the enemies, but you just have constant heal over time. I can see that being balanced. It is the most busted combination in the game on a Crest that already has a lot going for it. So yeah, it is S tier. You can't deny it. But at the same time, if you didn't have a lot of shell shards to spam out the red items, it's still good, but it's not S tier anymore. Which is, it's weird because like if you have the resources for the consumable items you want to use, then it's S tier. But if not, I think it's probably closer to A without those, without having all of the crazy stuff to spam. But there's lots of farms in the game. A lot of the enemies in the like high hall areas, just everything in the Citadel gives you tons of rosaries. And if you do have the resources, there's no question it is S tier, and the Plasmium thing probably shouldn't be in the game. Like, as much as I loved using it, that's because there's no alternative. Once again, I feel like that should have been given to Witch or Beast, or maybe both, where they regen over time, but their heals don't heal unless you hit the enemy. And that would have been the compensation. I think that would have been a better balance and a smarter design decision in the game. But the way it is right now, it has endless regenerating HP. It can use all of its silk, therefore, not for spells because it doesn't have any spell slots, but it sort of does in the form of the reforging, so it can just reuse its abilities and then just gut enemies. So yeah, S tier. But like, I say unfortunately, but that's just because I feel like it's very stacked in a weird way, and it's also carried by your resources. I had tons of resources by the end of the game. I could have spammed 10 times more and made the game 10 times easier. And that's scary to think about because, you know, I need to refight the Lost Sinner. because that was one I used a lot of like poison items on. I hadn't really realized how insane they were. That fight was also really long though. I should have had the needle upgrade before I did that probably. Okay, so moving on to probably well, I'll save Witch last. It's probably one of my favorites, but it problematic too. So let's go Shaman. So in Hollowknight, you didn't have red tools. You just had the base spells. And just by holding up, down, left, right, you could use those spells, but they all cost silk. The weird thing about Shaman is that it has no red slots, but all of your spells are pulling from the same silk pool. So yes, you may have more spells to use. You might have more to use, but you can't actually use more. You know what I mean? You would have to be generating way more silk than every other crest. And it really doesn't. Now, that's sort of its setup, but I think that's important because you don't, without reds, you just have more spells but not more silk to use them. Its moveset is actually really strong, especially its charged attack. It goes so far. It has such a huge hitbox. And even though it's not a technically physical melee attack, you still get silk for hitting with it. Now the regular attacks are just nice. They're fine. The running's kind of awkward, but fine. The downwards pogo is amazing. Hitting enemies on the ceiling. Once again, you don't get this till way later in the game, which makes it kind of hard to grade because there's no New Game Plus. But once again, Sister Splinter, Pinterest is constantly flying up in the sky. I feel like there's a few others. Oh yeah. The fourth chorus, his head is in the sky all the time. So you don't fight those bosses with it, but maybe if they come out with a New Game Plus or something, you could. So I think its moveset is really good, though. I legitimately think it's really, really strong. Its heal. Okay, so the heal is once again what were they thinking kind of thing, right? Like Team Cherry just being a little bit dumb, right? Depending upon what boss arena you use it in, it's just not good. I don't think it'd be very good against Pale Stag. It'd be basically unusable against Nihilith because in second phase because of all the spikes on the ground. I don't even think you could use it on her, right? Could you even use it in her fight at all? Those are sort of niche though, but in some of these it's just less options, right? Carmelita comes rushing at you with the spikes, right? She rushes you and all those spikes come out of the ground and you jump over it. You can heal with literally every other crest in the game. Well, technically not Beast because it doesn't heal you, and technically not Witch because it doesn't heal you, which is also questionable game design, but you have to land to heal yourself. And the animation isn't faster. In fact, it's actually longer because your plunging animation isn't part of the animation for the bind. So you actually heal slower, and you have to land versus all the other crests, which immediately makes it more unruly than these other crests up here. It is just a less, usable crest in all situations. I'm not really holding it back that you get it late game, but that is annoying. The bile water music, yeah, I'm just letting it play through the whole OST. Honestly, I should see if I can find a music tier list, right? Because, oh my gosh, the music in Silksong. Maybe we'll do that next, or not next, but after the bosses. I'm having fun. I'm having a blast. My gosh, bile water the first time though, brutal, actually brutal experience. I died so much. I probably set some sort of new record. Maybe not, but it was tough. I'm I'm thinking B tier. It's not as unruly as Beast. It's not as unruly as Beast. It's sort of like Hunter. It's sort of like Hunter. The better you are, the more you're rewarded. If you are really good, you have Cross Stitch for a counter, Rune Rage for fat bosses, Silk Spear for not fat bosses. Maybe you take Rune Rage off sometimes and put on the dash for iframes. You wouldn't need that if you had Cross Stitch, maybe. What is that? Sharp Dart? Something like that? Sharp Silk? I don't remember. Weird I'm forgetting the name of that. I like that skill, I just didn't use it enough. It turns you into a living weapon, which I like. What else would you use? Cross Stitch, probably the spear for a projectile. Probably would use Rune Rage sometimes on big bosses, but other than that, maybe Threadstorm for AoE and for like enemies above you. Probably Threadstorm. And if you use the Volt Filament, which I never got to do live, but once I beat that last boss and got 100% for defeating the last boss I didn't find, it does add a nice bit of damage. I think Shaman also boosts the base damage of spells too. So the better you are and the less you're healing, the better it is. You're not healing as much, then you don't have to worry about going onto the grounded heal, because you're so good you don't need to, and you're rewarded more for using your Silk offensively in spells. But for a normal playthrough, you're going to take hits, you're going to heal. The heal's not very good because it grounds you, and you have 3 different spell slots, but they all pull from the same pool, so you're not really using more spells. You just have more options of which one you want to use, but you're not using more of them, and the more damage you take, the less spells you're using, which means you're not really getting the full benefit of the Crest. It's just its moveset, with a worse heal. So I think B is fair. It's good, and the better you are at the game, the better and stronger it seems, but it's just not very ruly, unfortunately. And then we come to the Witch Crest. So I think the Witch Crest is it's similar with its heal predicament to Beast. I put Beast in C tier not just because of we got the I forgot the organ music like goes this hard. What is this track officially called? Oh, this is the Phantom boss fight theme. Oh, that's right. Phantom's another boss I really want to refight, because I think I was overpowered when I fought him. And Phantom was one of your favorites, right? Right, Red Slabs? I think? Like, I definitely want to refight that guy. Man, I hope they come out with a God Home or something. Yeah, it was Kino. Kind of? I don't know what Kino. But yeah, we'll get to the boss tier list. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but yeah, that one is good. It's really good. It's really good. The more I've thought about it, same with Carmelita, the more I've grown to appreciate it. Same with even First Sinner, but we'll get to the boss list. We'll get there. Okay, so the Witch Crest does have the problem with Beast Crest, but I don't think it has nearly as much other things, right? The Pogo is way better for exploration. It's incredible for combat, especially. For exploration, I don't think it's as good as Wanderer Reaper. I don't. But it's incredible in combat. Its running does a double hit. Technically, it seems like it hits 3 times sometimes, but you get 2 silk for the running attack. Huge range with Long Claw, like the longest range in the game. I think it's incredibly fast too with the running. It's like just instant. So it's got a lot of good, and then it also has 3 blue charms, and that is more of a defensive setup compared to like the Architect's 3 red, but it allows for a lot of really good combinations of things, right? Whether using the bell to protect yourself, or you use Weave Light for an extra heal. The multi-binder can do an extra life siphon. The damage it does when you life siphon is also massive. But there are some issues with it as well, right? It does not have any yellow slots. And this makes it so that when you're doing exploration, it's definitively probably like the worst tool in the game, or the worst for exploration in the game, because if you're in a new spot, you probably want the compass. If you've got really good directional awareness and just you don't really need to worry about it too much, you're really good at memorizing layouts, don't have the compass, and then you have on maybe ardent grips, right? And that's all you probably need, but it's nice to have the silk speed anklets. It's nice they let you get around. Where even are silk speed on here? Way up here. Okay, so you can't run those. You can't run magnetite dice. When you're in boss fights, this is like the easy switch, right? Once you get the, I forget what they call that crest on the side, but it basically gives you Vesta Crest. Once you get the double Vesta Crest and you have an extra yellow slot, that gives you your 1 yellow, so you're using either the compass or the ardent cling grips or the dice, something. So you get some, but it's just not good for exploration. And to make it even worse, you need enemies to life siphon out of, or it doesn't work. Like, it just doesn't function. So, like, it's definitely better than Beast, but I don't know if I could put it above Beast. It's bad for exploration objectively. If you use your silk and it's on an enemy that teleports or moves around a lot or doesn't give a lot of openings, you just don't get your heal. You blew all of your silk for nothing. Once again, Reaper, you use all of your silk and your next few hits heal yourself. Or, sorry, not heal yourself, generate silk. With Beast or Witch, you use all your silk, you don't get healing, hope you can hit the enemy, right? So I think it's better than Beast, but I think it probably still belongs in C tier, just because there's so many situations where it's just not good. It's not good for exploration, not good for all bosses, but it does have a lot of blue charms which can lead to some interesting combinations you wouldn't normally use. And it's still got 2 reds as well. It's still got 2 red slots, so you can still use your tools and do a lot of damage. So it's not horrible, but it's still pretty problematic. Also, now's probably an interesting time to like talk about this when I won't pull up Weave Light just yet, but I have tried playing through the game with infinite silk hearts, where your silk just regens over time, really slowly. It doesn't feel broken. I was under the impression the game would just feel busted, but it really doesn't. And when you're exploring, if you're like on your last mask, you can either try to push forward and die and have to do your corpse run. I've seen more and more people do this, and I think I was told to do this at one point, and I think maybe I even tried it and just forgot that it was a tech that you could do, because it didn't work for me wherever I was in the game. I was like trapped or something. But you can quit out to the menu, and it automatically loads you at a bench. It'll save the game right before you do as well, so you can do that, but that feels like cheesing the game. So you either have to waste time with the corpse run back, or you have to quit out the game and reload to a bench. But with infinite silk regen, you only generate like 1 silk every like 3 seconds. That's 12 seconds to use a spell, just standing still. And that's just to get 4 strands. So if you have auto regenning silk, when you're out exploring and stuff, you're down to your last mask or something, you can just sit there, stand there, and let it regenerate. And then once you have your 9 strands, you can heal yourself. It's still a punishment. It's still a punishment to the player. You're standing there being like, oh, I'm such an idiot. How did I miss that jump the 4th time in a row? Right? You still have that like you would with your corpse run, but it doesn't waste as much time. It doesn't feel cheesy like quitting out to the menu. So I do feel like having auto regen Silk is fine. I've now played through, I think, like Act 1 with it on, and I don't know if I got to Act 2, I don't remember, but because it was like last week and I've had a crazy week, but it felt fine. It felt completely fine. The game doesn't feel busted in any way with having basically infinite Silk Hearts. And I was just surprised because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be so OP. I'm going to be using spells like every half second. Everything's just going to be annihilated. And like, no, it actually works. So if these crests, if the Witch and the Beast had base heal of 2 with multi-binder 3 instead of 3/4, it would be 2/3, and you had auto regenning Silk, it means that you could actually heal yourself while on the go. So when you're exploring, if you're in an area you've taken hits, you could auto heal yourself. I would immediately bump both of these up into the A tier because they both have potential for more damage but less healing, but they also are great for exploration then. So if Silk regenerates automatically on its own, which I think it could, I don't think it breaks the game. I really don't. I don't know if Team Cherry ever experimented with that, but it's fine. And then these had some sort of base heal, instant A tier. The way it is actually functional in the game right now, which is, in my opinion, not the greatest design, unfortunately. They are going to stay C. So, pains me to say that because I think those two are like my favorites. I like Shaman too, but I didn't get enough time to like play around with it. In terms of moveset, the Architect, I really like the charge attack. The charged attack is awesome. It's such a big range, but I don't really like the rest of its moves. I don't really love its pogo. Its running is fun to use, but I don't like it, if that makes sense, because of the delay. You don't have to delay it, but if you want the extra damage. So it's not my favorite, and once again, it's kind of contingent on your materials, if it's good or not. Like if you don't have shell shards, this is F tier, right? It's the worst crest in the game. It's like, okay, maybe not, because you still get to heal normally, but it's not good either. If you have shell shards, though, it's busted. So it's kind of weird. Like on its own, it's not good. On its own plus shell shards, it's insane. So you should say not on its own, but with shell shards. Okay, so now we move on to, these are all out of order, I've noticed. Like there's red tools here. What is this doing? Why is this here? This isn't a tool you normally get. Well, okay, it's technically red. I think we should start with yellow. I think we should start with yellow tools. So, the compass. How do you rate the compass? Seeing where you're at is really good, especially the first time playing, especially for me. I feel like B's fair, right? When you're first going through the game, it's really helpful. But the compass in B tier for baby. I've actually thought about this. When the DLC comes out, because I'll stream the DLC for sure, right? I think I should do it without the compass and just get completely lost, and you guys can laugh at me. Like, I kind of want to do it, especially if I do go with Witch. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not even certain that I don't mod the game for the DLC and just make Witch heal baseline. If I do that though, it still doesn't have any yellow slots. So I'd only have one from the Vesta Crest. And if that's the case, then I wouldn't use Compass. I'd use Silk Speed Anklets or something else. If I did that, I'm not certain. I think it'd be fun to do that though. But yeah, I'll put it in B for baby, because you're right. If you just pay more attention, if you take more time, and if you're better with your sense of direction and the rooms you've been in, it's not useful at all. But first time playing through it can be really good to kind of know where you're at, exactly where you're at on the map. Can help you find some secret rooms, I think, a little bit easier as well. So B tier feels right. All right, the Claw Mirror. The Claw Mirror adds raw damage to your bind, which generally doesn't have it. You're going to be binding a lot in general. I think it's A. It's literally free. Where's the other mirror? I wouldn't put this in S, but it's obviously better than the double mirror, or sorry, better than the single mirror. It's just adding damage to your heal. If you use it on Beast, not only do you get the damage boost, but you're also doing burst damage. And then on Witch, it actually just kind of annihilates anything on Witch. I wish we could have health bars in the game, but I think you would actually freak out if you saw how much damage like a Witch heal with the double mirrors does. It's kind of insane if you can pull it off. Once again, kind of an unruly heal, doesn't help you in exploration, but like when you're using this tool, you can get off so much. And it's just for something you're already doing, always in the game. It just makes your heal offensive, and some of them are already offensive. They're just good. I honestly wish what level they're at right now is kind of what I wish all tools were. Like all blue tools, like that same level of like utility. Because, I don't know, they cooked with this one, at least in my opinion. They don't feel broken, but they feel really good. Long Claw. So, Long Claw is good. It's kind of one of the blue tools I put on when I didn't know what to put else on, because honestly, there's a lot of them that aren't very good. Like, unfortunately. I kind of want to say A tier because of that. Because there just aren't a lot of blue tools that are really good. There's like 3 or 4, and then the rest are like, like maybe kind of niche. It is amazing with Wanderer Crest because it has such short range. It kind of fixes that quite a bit. I used it on Witch, and I felt like I could feel the difference, but then again, I think tools were disabled during the Flea games, and I didn't notice it was disabled, apparently. So I guess Witch just doesn't really need it, and the reach it adds to Witch isn't like that noticeable because it's already long. I think I tried it on Beast when I first got it, and I was like, yeah, it's nice. So it's just a nice bonus, but it's not like incredible. I don't know. I feel like it could be a little bit better, but there's not a whole lot of other blue like slot charms that are better, right? So I think A tier is fine, but it's definitely not as useful as the claw mirrors in general. All right, the spool extender. So the spool extender lets you hold more silk, specifically 3 more strands. Now, that means before you're 3 strands away from double healing, this can immediately get you there. But spells, unless you're using Egophilia and you're on full HP, just Y, we'll get there. But unless you have full HP and you have Egophilia, spells cost 4 strands of silk. So this doesn't even give you a full extra spell cast. So there's like a very small period of the game where it's actually useful. And then after that, it's just kind of not. On top of that, once again, we're talking like a standard playthrough, a lot of times you're going to use your silk to heal yourself. And I found in boss fights, I was almost never fully building up to two full like heals of silk. I never was. So giving me 3 extra strands never helped because I could never build up to full anyways because I was healing myself. Or because I was using spells offensively. I feel like it's completely useless once you get enough silk to double bind yourself. Or maybe if you're running like a full HP, Egophilia, Shaman, Ultra Giga Gamer, you've already played the game before build. But everything's busted at that point, so I'm giving it D tier. Just having 3 extra strands that you could build on your maximum when you're not ever building up to your maximum. You're using spells, you're healing, like, it just doesn't make sense. So it's bad. The pin badge, I believe it's called, the pin badge. I never really used this, but it speeds up charged attacks. Witch has an amazing charge. I really like Beast. I really like Beast charge attack because it has that lunge forward. Pretty good. Shaman has an amazing one. I really like Architects. Reapers is mid. I also really like the Wanderers. I don't know. I think I'm talking about what I like, but also they're good, right? Like if you spam the Witch one, tons of damage. Actually tons of damage. The Beast acts as an engage. Screen wide attack. This is just like a really fast but very long range attack. The Wanderers has that like its charge attacks are pretty good. I feel like this probably should also go in A. I feel like it should also go in A. Is it better than Longclaw? It might be. Charged attacks are really good. I honestly think this would go really well with Shaman. Because its charge is incredible. Songglaive. We got the Songglaive theme going. But yeah, I think charge attacks are really good in this game. Also, I need to fact check this before I say anything stupid and look back at my VODs. But I was not using charged attacks for a while. When I first got them, I used them all the time, but then I realized I wasn't getting Silk and I stopped using them. But apparently I was getting Silk while using them, and I wasn't realizing it. But I said no, I was paying attention, and I wasn't getting back Silk. And so I was very confused, and I thought I had heard somewhere that they actually shadow patched you to be able to get Silk while using strong attacks. So I need to go back and watch my VODs of when I got the I think they call it Silk Strike? No, Needle Strike? Whenever I got the charge attack, I need to go back and watch, because I could have sworn at that time when I was playing the game, I was not getting back Silk and I stopped using it for a while. And I think they patched it while I was playing to get it. I could be wrong on that. I need to double check, but I'm pretty sure that's why I was so confused and I stopped using them for a while. So, kind of weird. Little special factoid thing. But yeah, I think Pin Badge is good here. A lot of the charge attacks are amazing, and you get Silk with them now, so it's just making a good ability in your arsenal even better. I don't remember what this bell thing is called. But let's pull the Magma Bell up here too, because double bell. The Bell of Protection, the Warding Bell. Warding Bell? I think it's called the Warding Bell. It protects you from losing all of your Silk and taking... Does it? It protects you from taking damage while you're binding. That's like the main thing. So, few things to note. This doesn't really work with Witch or Beast, especially if you have the Injector Band. Because your binds become so fast with these crests with the bind. Or sorry, your bind becomes really fast with the Injector. So I feel like for 2 crests, this just doesn't really work, right? It just doesn't function. Now, it does stop you from taking damage, which is nice. But I don't remember if you lose all your Silk or not. You might. That might bump it down to a B to a C. I just don't remember if you lose all your Silk or not when you're binding and you get hit. I don't know. It's even then, it's not great. It does save you from getting hit though, but I don't know. Yeah, the Silk is lost. Ooh. All right, C tier it is. Yeah, C tier. Like, unfortunately it's gotta be, like, because that means that you'd have to. Oh my gosh, that's so brutal. You'd have to hit the enemy, what, 5 to 8 times to get back all your Silk after you mess up. It's not unusable, right? It's a good safety net. I I heard it does damage too. Is that true? I feel like somebody's pulling my leg saying it does damage. I don't know. It's not like the claw mirror damage though, for sure. I used it a few times. We got the Cogwork core. You don't think so? Or not? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Something to test out maybe later, but I don't think so either. Alright, the Magma Bell. The Magma Bell to me is kind of like the Compass. It's kind of like the Compass. There are a few bosses that use fire. Like... the last judge... Yeah, the last judge is fire. The Father of the First Flame, obviously fire. Does anything else use fire? I don't know if anything else uses fire. So, like, it's useful, very situational, yes. Yes, it's very situational. So I'm thinking B. Like, when it's useful, it's useful. But when it's, like, not useful, it's F tier, right? Like, I'd say, I could even see knocking it down to C tier. I might even put it down to C tier. I don't know. Also helps in the lava stages. And, oh yeah, the guys that, oh yeah, those little skeleton bug things. The little, like, dry bone skeleton fly things. Oh my gosh. Yeah, those are annoying. I think we have to keep it in B. When it's useful, it is really useful, but it's just very situational. We'll keep it B. I'm putting it behind... Should I put it ahead of the Compass? No, the Compass is just... It's always decent. Like, always decent. It's just... Yeah. It's just not necessary a lot of times. And neither is the Magma Bell, because I constantly forgot it existed, even though you reminded me like 12 times. Like, I just accepted the double damage and died to it if I needed to. And I did, a lot of times. Let's get Flea Brew out of the way, because this is a red tool. I'm just going to move it. Up somewhere in here. Just reorganizing a little bit. Alright, the Slingshot. I don't even know if that's what this is called. I found this while I was doing cleanup, looking at like videos and stuff, and it throws out double the number of tools, but it still costs you the same total number of tools you would throw out. So it's just doubling how fast you're getting them out. So if you can throw 4 cog flies, if you have the Slingshot equipped, when you press the button to throw 1, it'll use 2 out of your 4 or whatever. It's just how it works. I think you get 8 cog flies, so it immediately brings out 2 out of the 8 with 1 button press. But you're still using 2 of the 8 as if you pressed it like twice. Honestly, I think this is maybe the lowest C tier you could possibly get. Maybe even D tier. Now, there is arguments to be used with, like, Architect Crest, and you have some very powerful tools like the Pimpillo, right? That has a lot of damage. I never tried it with something like... Well, you're using that out of combat most of the time. You can use it in combat. It doesn't work with Flint Slate, right? I don't know how it works with the gun. But it has use for, like, DPS burning enemies. I'm not saying it's useless. I'm going to keep it in C, but it's, like, the lowest of C tier, unfortunately. If it were to reduce, like, if it were to give you one for free, it would be busted, right? So that they had to just, it throws out an extra, but it costs you the same, so I'm just going to keep it C tier. I don't even remember what this thing is called. It has one use. It has one use, okay? It has one use, whatever this flame thing is called. And that is when you're Architect Crest and you have Lifeblood boost. You're not using your Silk to heal. if you're not using your silk to heal, your silk is just built up for reforging. But you don't need to reforge all the time. You have more than enough silk. You don't need to be reforging every half second. And so I had this on, and it was actually like B tier in that one instance. Wisp Fire Lantern, thank you. Yeah, I didn't even remember the name of it. Now, okay, if the Witch and Beast Crest could only heal with hitting, they could only heal with hitting like it is right now, but they had passive regen, I would also say that this is probably like B tier. Maybe even A tier, honestly, because you would not be using your silk to heal. If you're not using your silk to heal, you want to be using it for spells, but you're building up way too much. You're building up way too much. You will not use it all for spells, even though spells are way stronger. This is just like passive, consistent damage. It's like A tier. As it is right now, it's D tier. If the only use for it is when I mod the game and you have auto regeneration, or when you're using one specific crest with one specific setup that takes a ton of shell shards that you have to grind for potentially, that is like the definition of like D. Honestly, there's no F tier. How do I add one? Where's the add button? I don't know where the add button is, but anyways, it's bad. It's actually probably detrimental to every player who isn't running Architect with the blue juice. There we go. I remembered what I was doing. It's the only thing that I can think of right now that deserves that rating. Like, this is the lowest D tier anything's gonna be, probably, maybe not, but this has to be F, right? For a standard playthrough, it's actually a trap. It uses up silk that you could be building up to use a spell for, unless you are auto-regenning silk, all of like infinite silk hearts like I've been experimenting with, and I don't think that breaks the game. That makes it immediately better as well. Or you have auto regenning, like if you mod those to auto regen since they can only heal on hit, or your Architect with blue juice, it's usable. But as it is right now, you are just wasting silk and your time and your life, and it's just awful. The Egg of Flelia. I'm actually like face palming right now. This should be like an A tier, like high A tier, or even like S tier charm. Should be. But you have to get all the fleas. You get all the fleas in the entire game. You scour far and wide across all of Farloom, through the halls of the Citadel, through its cogwork core and its underworks, and you find every single flea in the whole game like a true gamer. Maybe you even have to look a few up, but you still found most of them on your own. I think I looked up like 2 or something, and you spent like so much time, and you finally get all the fleas to their main home, Fleatopia, and they give you this as a like badge of honor, as a reward for saving all of the fleas and bringing them together in a final utopia before the apocalypse. And it only works when you have full HP. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. Why isn't this, it just reduces the cost of silk skills by 1. Instead of 4, they cost 3 now. You could put it in A tier. If you don't want to put it in A and that's too high for you, you could put it in high B. But only working when you have full HP is such a huge, insane, like, limiter on this charm. Like, you already have to, your spells are already competing with your resources of healing. You're already in competition with healing. That's why you don't use spells a whole lot if you're playing the game for the first time, especially if you're struggling or just an average player taking a few hits. it's one of the reasons I've put other things lower on this list, because you're gonna take hits. So it's probably C tier. I think it's better than the Warding Bell, and you can get use out of it if, especially early on in a boss fight, you're kicking butt. You're on a roll. You're not losing HP. Every 3 hits instead of 4 hits, you're throwing out a spell. Hell yeah, pretty decent. Now, you can also, with the Silk Heart, use spells when you only have 2 Silk Hearts. Sorry. How does that work? You have 3 Silk Hearts by base. If you have a 4th Silk Heart, you get to 4. And that lets you use a spell. But you, even without having this on, you could still have the Egg of Flelia and do it 1 less, with 1 less Silk Heart, because it reduces the spell cost by 1. But it's still bad. The way you goobers are glazing on this goober game is insane. The whole hour just do it. Hey. This is just the first tier list. We haven't gotten to the bosses yet. So just wait, Miroku. It's gonna, like, by the end of this, gonna be like a 3-hour tier list. Also, I don't know if glazing's the right word. I've been very critical. Did I finish it? Yes, I did. I finished it. I got 98 or 99% completion when I refought the final boss. And then I had to fight one more boss off stream to get one more item, which was the Volt Worm. Volt Worm? Yeah, the Volt Worm. And yeah, so I have officially 100%ed Silksong, which is crazy. It's also crazy because there's one item in here that I've never seen before, and there's a couple bosses that I don't recognize either. So, yeah. But did finish. Alright, so yeah, Egg of Flelia. This should be a B tier, high B tier if not A tier, but only on full HP. Give me a break of that Kit Kat bar. Okay, the multi-binder. I use the multi-binder for almost the whole game. It does give you an extra animation, but when bosses hit you for 2 damage, 1 heal gives you back all of the HP. It gives you back all of your HP, even if it's an extra animation, instead of leaving you with 1 down. I feel like it's the highest of A tier, right? Or am I... You think I'm overplacing it? I don't know. I used it almost for the whole game, and just the fact that you get all of your HP back after 2 hits, because if you only use the base bind, it is a little faster, but only getting back 3 out of your 4 and being down 1, especially early game when you only have like 5 HP, is insane, right? Because then you're in 2-shot range again instead of 3-shot range, because you wouldn't get that extra 1 back, right? Like there are, I don't know. It is an extra animation, but I feel like it's really strong. It also has other synergies. It also has other synergies because it ends up doing more damage for the witch. And I think it also, it might extend the time as well for Beast, but at least it lets you hit an extra time and get an extra health back. So maybe there's no synergy there, but it does have extra synergy with Witch. It's just really strong. It just helps you keep going. So I think it's one of my favorite tools in like the whole game, like 100%. All right, the harp, the silk harp thing. I don't remember what this one's called either. Is it F tier? I never found a use for it. I even found a use for the Wisp Fire Lantern. I never found a use for the harp. Like, when you play Nidolin, enemies like stop in place. And I guess if you had the Wisp Fire Lantern, which is also one of the worst tools in the game, it could like the flames could come out and attack your enemies while they're CC'd. You can't do it with Cogflies because the Cogflies get CC'd and start singing when you play Needle In, so it doesn't work with it. I guess you could wait for your HP to regen when you have Lifeblood, but you only have the Lifeblood trick with Architect or if you went way out of your way to go get Lifeblood. So, it's bad. I think it's F tier. It's just awful. Like, you would never use this. Like, it's unusable. It's F tier. Alright, Druid Eye. Druid Eye's pretty good. You get hit twice, you get 1 strand of silk for it, but you need 8 silk to heal yourself. So it's useful, but like just barely, right? It's useful, but just barely. Getting 1 extra silk every like 2 hits is, man, maybe I should put it lower. It is useful the whole game through, but like 1 strand of silk for 2 hits is pretty low considering you need 8. I still think it's better than this. This doesn't even really do anything except make burst windows higher. This at least kind of helps you with survivability. I think I feel comfortable with it there. Druid Eyes, on the other hand, 2 hits gets you 4 strands of silk. So if you have 3 silk hearts, plus you have Weave Light on, you're generating 4. So you only need 5 more hits to be able to do a bind. If you get hit twice, Druid Eyes gives you 2 strands of silk. So you'd only need to land 3 more hits to be able to heal yourself. Now you've taken 2 hits, which is disgusting and massive, and I'm not downplaying that at all, but you would only need 3 hits to get that next heal, which is also incredibly impactful. I don't know if I'd put it in, I might put it in A tier. Like the very bottom of A. I think it's better than the Compass. It's not situational like these are, it's actually good. I think Egophilia should also be bottom of B tier. I think it's in the same situation as like Magma Bell, where it's actually usable. It's actually pretty good if you are at full HP, so the better you're playing, the more use it gets, but then it just turns off immediately. But that's what these are. These are like situationally useful. Situational for fire damage, situational, you know, how's your awareness, / have you discovered everything on the map, all the secrets? And then like situational, are you at full HP? Really? So I think it should be here instead. I think Druid Eyes is always useful. I don't think it's broken. And you don't want to take 2 hits. Oh, this is the really sad song again. So Nihilith and one of the other areas both use this as like the theme. I don't know, it really gets to me. It got to me during the boss fight too. Okay, the Poison Polyp. Is that what this is called? The Poison Polyp? Poison Pouch? Poison Polyp, I think. Something like that. I really like this item. Like, I think this item is really cool, but I used it enough. I used it enough. It's better than Druid's Eyes. Maybe better than Longclaw. I don't know if it's better than the Pin. So you are dependent upon your items. It's at least an A tier, though. Like, 100%. It is incredible with things like Tax, the Cog Flies. I didn't use it a ton with the Conch Cutter, but I did use it. The pins, the straight pins, because you're just chucking them at the enemies, right? And every one does, like, I think 2 or 3 ticks of poison, and it hits pretty hard, too. So if you're just using 1 pin at a time, you could legitimately, like drain bosses. Now, it does have some limiting factors to it. Certain crests don't have a lot of red tools. Red tools are also in that weird limbo state like Architect, where the reason it's in S tier is because we're assuming you have lots of shell shards, but the second you don't, it gets dropped down probably into like the A tier, maybe even B tier. because it doesn't have as much, special things it can do. But with shell shards, it's instantly busted, and it's kind of the same thing with this. The more shell shards you have, the more weapons you're using in combat, the better it is until it's like just the best in the game, right? You can't use it with the lifeblood trick. Probably fair, you can't use it with lifeblood. But yeah, when you're using it, even if you're just using it in boss fights, it's really strong. Just use tools. Cogflies, only throwing one out at a time could be really good. I never tried that. Because if you only do one at a time, you could just constantly be pressuring a boss with that extra poison. Since you can't stack duration. I never tried that. I probably should have. But the more I think about it, the stronger this seems. I'm not going to put it above the long or the pin badge, just simply because you do need to have the shell shards, but it's A tier nonetheless. The Weave Light. Is there any other blue charms? This is blue. I don't know. I don't like how this tier list put these out of order. Is there any other blue? I think that's yellow. Okay, I think these are the last. These are the last three. So Weave Light. Okay, the strongest thing about Weave Light is that your natural silk regen with maximum silk hearts in the game is 3. It gives you an extra, which is 4. 4 is enough to cast a spell. So as long as you're not healing yourself, even if you're completely out of silk, you get infinite spells. Very strong. But even if you're not using it for that, you're just generating 4 silk instead of 3 at endgame. So you need 9... In total, you need 9 hits to 9 strands of silk to heal yourself. And that means that with Weave Light, you only need 5 hits to get that back. With Druid Eyes, if you take a few hits, you also got 2 extra strands of silk. So that means you only need 3 hits. It's really good for that. Basically, this could read lower the number of hits when you're out of silk that you need to heal yourself by 1. Just like put that into perspective. Say that's not S tier, right? Now, is it better than Multi-Binder? I don't know. It also speeds... I didn't know this until I put that mod on that let me have infinite silk hearts. It increases the generation of silk too. It goes from like 3.5 seconds to like 2.5, roughly. It's like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 or something like that, and it goes 1 Mississippi, 2 and then it's done. So it's like 2.5 seconds instead of 3. So you're generating those silk hearts faster, and you only need like 5 hits then to get a heal instead of the standard like whatever it is, right? And even before you have all of your silk hearts, right? Let's say you find this and you only have like 1 silk heart. I think that's what it was for me too. I generally need 8 hits. With it equipped, I only need 7. You need 1 less hit to get to your heal when you're completely out of silk. And that on its own is nuts. But then also, it generates silk faster, so you're getting to those silk hearts a lot quicker. Great for using claw line and other things in platforming sections, so it has utility outside of combat. Silk speed anklets don't really work with it very well, because that stops silk generation altogether the second you stop running, or you start running. It just like cuts it off. But yeah, just reduce the number of hits you need to heal yourself by 1. Insane. But then also there's other utilities with it, of course. If you do regenerate over time, like I've been experimenting with, like if these had regen over time, but could only get good heals when they attacked, it becomes even more powerful, because then of course if you have full silk hearts plus it, then you're able to constantly use spells, as long as you're not taking damage, and then you might want to save some for healing. Once again, though, if you're healing over time, though, then you just have infinite spell uses, and I did that a little bit with going and grabbing the Lifeblood while I had like Witch Crest on. So I'd be Lifeblood, Witch Crest, And then when I got Silk, I wouldn't use it to heal myself because I'm healing over time. I'd have Weave Light on with the 3 Silk Hearts. I'd have infinite spells, essentially. I have to wait for them to come online, but I basically had them, and it felt awesome. So this could even be S tier if natural regen is added to Crest in the future, or added to these guys, which it probably should be, but that's just my, fanfic modded version. Memory Crystal. Memory Crystal is not... It's pretty much usable all the time. I got myself in trouble with it a few times, or was actually actively working against me. But it turns your damage into damage to enemies. One of the final bosses, I think one of the old hearts, I actually killed with one of these. Like, I think I actually got a kill from it. Just every time you take... It's like, you don't want to use it. But, like, when it works, it's... The more I look at this list, I'm glad I'm making this tier list now, because I'm realizing I put a lot of stuff into the A tier. I was like, there aren't a whole lot of, like, good options for blues, but there are. I think maybe the reason I thought there wasn't is because when I went for Lifeblood Witch, I couldn't rest at a bench, so I couldn't use any red tools. And so I didn't have the pin badge yet. I wasn't healing, so I didn't use the claw mirrors. I wasn't healing, so I didn't need the multi-binder. I wasn't healing, so I didn't really need Druid's Eyes. Maybe I had it on. I wasn't rested at benches, so I couldn't use the polyp. I think I did have the Long Claw, and I also did have the Weave Light. And that's when I made the comment, without tools or having to bind yourself, which are 2 core mechanics, there's not a lot. But now that I'm actually looking at the list as like a full thing, using tools, binding yourself, and just fighting with the needle, yeah, there's actually a lot of good, like, A tier options. Actually pretty well balanced. I'm kind of surprised. But back to the Memory Crystal, I think it's probably high B tier, but, like, I could also see it being A as well. Is it better than Druid's Eyes would be the question. Druid's Eyes gets you 2 Silk for 2 hits. It's not a lot. That is not a lot. You need, at minimum, 6 hits. 5 hits if you have Weave Light on to get a heal. So 2 is not a lot, and if you're taking double damage, it means you took 4 masks of damage. It's probably worse. You could even put it into B tier as well, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Like, the economy on that is not great. Oh, but environmental hazards only deal 1 to you generally. And a lot of enemies only deal 1 mask of damage to 2. So you get hit twice, you only lose 2 masks, but you've got 2 strands of silk. So that actually is pretty good. But the Memory Crystal just doing damage, it doesn't help you with exploration, but on bossing and for ads, it's really good. Is it better than Long Claw? I think so. Did I not get more use out of it than Long Claw? Extra needle range is good, but a lot of times you don't need it. Just adds in extra damage. I don't think I can put it higher than these guys, though, because this can add in so much damage contingent on shell shards. And a lot of the charged attacks are really strong, either as engaged tools, just high damage like with Witch, easy to hit attacks like with Architect across the screen or Wanderer. So I think here's probably a good spot for it. The Volt Filament, the only item that I have on this list, other than this one, which I don't even know what this is, but I have 100% completion, so I must not need it, or I don't remember what that is. But this is the only item I got off stream, and it adds like electricity and extra damage to your spells. So this goes back to just talking about spells in general, but you're only using spells when you have full HP probably, and enough silk to heal yourself once. And the more you're struggling with the game and more hits you're taking, the less you're going to use spells. That being said, go away, Norton. That being said, it just adds in a decent chunk of extra damage, it seems, to spells. And Shaman, I think, is already boosting spells by a little bit as well. So the two of them together can do absolutely disgusting levels of damage. And it's pretty much always usable as long as you are using spells. It's sort of like Long Claw, but for spells. It's like always useful, but you have to be using spells which compete with healing. Like, I know most stuff is going into A tier here, but I feel like this is actually what it should be. If there's going to be an S tier, it would maybe be Weavelight and Multibinder. Like, I put those there automatically, and I do feel like they deserve to be there. But I think you could even make an argument for, like, the Polyp being there too, maybe even the Mirrors. But none of these, like, break the game or, like, absolute must picks, right? If you don't have the Weavelight, you have to hit the enemy one more time to be able to heal. Is that a big deal? Not really, but remember, it also speeds up your Silk generation with your Silk Hearts and it. So you get those 4 back really quick. You get those 4 back really quick at the end of the game, so it's a lot easier to get to your heal. It helps a lot. All right, the Multibinder gives you back that extra HP, and you're like, well, for the extra animation, is it really worth it? Right? But then you realize that a lot of enemies hit you for double damage. When you're out exploring, you only take 1 damage at a time. So it maybe even is more useful. You could take 4 hits before you need to bind and you get it all back. 4 mistakes just undone just like that instead of 3. And you don't care about the extra animation because you're just exploring. And then once again in bosses, when you take 2 damage apiece, you take 2 hits, that's 4 HP. Instead of healing for 3 and still being down 1, you just got back all your HP. I think these have to be S tier. The more I think about it, the more I think they both have to be S. Whereas, like, all of these other ones are really good, but a little bit... Oh, the claw... I don't know, the double claw mirror is really good, and it's usable on every crest in the game. Is there ever a bad situation to use it? And it's not like a trap for players either. Whereas, like, you might not be using charged attack as much, dependent upon tools. You have to get hit. You have to not get hit so that you have enough silk for spells. Always good, but not necessary. I feel like there's a lot of crests that you just don't care. You have to get hit for it to work. I might put this up in S tier. I don't think I'm going to put this one up there. The extra damage is nice on that, but this one's clearly just, like, a lot better, right? The double mirror. So we'll say the claw mirrors are up there. Technically, it's the same tool. It gets upgraded, doesn't it? Yeah, it gets upgraded. So this is, like, always usable on everything, but this is, like, if you're not using it and you're binding, you're just losing damage, unfortunately. For anyone like me who didn't use it the whole playthrough. And you bind a lot. When you're exploring, it doesn't help you, I guess. But it's still just free damage on heals, and there's going to be a lot of enemies around, so you could always just heal in front of an enemy and just do damage. I don't know. I don't feel... Maybe S tiers is too much for that. Yeah, that's... I'll keep it top of A. It's like top of A. Always get use out of it, but not in exploration. And it also maybe incentivizes you to heal in front of enemies. And if you don't need to bind, that's the other thing. If you don't need to bind, then you'd be better with Volt Filament. That'd be a weird build to go with the Claw Mirrors and Volt Filament. If you don't take damage, you're using spells and blowing their head off. If you need to heal yourself, then you're exploding. Oh, I forgot that this synergizes with Multibinder to do double explosion, though. That's a lot of extra damage. I forgot about that. I think it has to go S. I forgot about the Multibinder doing a second explosion. It doesn't work with Witch, I don't think. It does the second explosion with Witch, I don't remember. But, like, Witch already does a ton of damage, and this adds a ton more. They explode. So like S tier with Witch, if you're on like, you know, Shaman or Reaper Wanderer and you do the multi-binder and it triggers, yeah, it's gotta be S tier. It's just so powerful. Even though if it's not usable all the time, when you do pull it off, it's disgusting. So we'll put it there. I needed to use it more for sure. Even the regular Claw Mirrors, they're both very good. All right, yellow tools. We're on to yellow now. The Silk Speed Anklets. Silk Speed Anklets to me are like a B. They can be useful in combat, but when you use them, if you're generating anything from a Silk Heart, it's put on pause. It can mess you up because you can move too fast, and you can end up running into the enemy instead of using your running attack, especially depending upon what crest you're using. Wanderer is probably the trickiest because it's got such short range. And it just helps you get around the world faster. It just helps you get around the world faster. It's good. There's nothing wrong with it, really. The Silk Heart stopping isn't that big of a deal. You could just walk until you get all your Silk Hearts back and then run. And you only lose like 1 silk if you've been running for like 5 or 6 seconds straight. So if you just take a break and then you jump and use like Clawline or something, I don't know. It's just not that big of a deal. Clawline also uses silk though, but you get the idea. The drawback like isn't really that bad. You can use it in combat just to be a little bit faster and zip away. Great when you're just like running around, but it's nothing like special, right? It's something you need to have. I have no idea what this is called. It's the purse. It's the purse that makes it so. Oh, this is I forgot this is a blue tool. I missed one. The injector band that speeds up your heal. This also has to be S. I think it's even better. Do I think it's better? Initially, my initial thought was, yeah, it's just better than the multi-binder. It's so fast. It lets you get your heal off almost guaranteed, even if you're a chump. Like, this spell's like, I'll protect you, but you'll lose all your silk. This is like, you are healing, and the boss can't do anything about it. And it makes, like, the Beast and the Witch Crest, like, borderline an instantaneous heal. You press it, and, like, Witch Crest is like, and that's the animation for it. It's insane. I think it has to be S. I've totally forgot about the injector band, and I use that a lot. I should have went through everything, because this is also blue. This is also a blue. I hate how they're not in order. Is there anything else? This is also a blue. I missed like 3 or 4 of them. You guys aren't keeping me honest. Is the wreath a blue or is it a yellow? I don't remember. I don't remember if this is yellow or blue either. I think this is pretty sure is a yellow. Pretty sure. Man, okay, man, we've got more than I thought. But yeah, I think the injector band is S tier. It's just faster healing. The boss can't do anything about it. It's usable with the multi-binder, and it basically cancels out the extra animation because it makes it so much faster. It might even be faster than a normal heal, even with it. I'm not sure. It's fast though. And then you also have like Claw Mirror with it. This setup's just gross. Let's just be real. This setup's gross. You have to hit one less time to get stuff. If you also had Egg of Fleely or something like that, you could use spells with just 1 hit or without any. Faster healing, instantaneous or extra heal, and then you just explode. Yeah, like these are all just so good. This one almost, the Weave Light almost seems a little bit worse in comparison to some of these others. There's so many things you can do with it though. But am I overblowing it? Am I over evaluating it? Because like initial thought is it's one of the best charms in the game. Infinite spells when you're at full HP. Like that's the thing that kind of keeps getting to me. You do have to wait for the silk to regen, but you literally have infinite spells if you could. Like, just the concept of that is nuts. And with the filament, it would be even stronger, which I didn't get the filament until after I beat the game. So I never even got to try that, but that just sounds nuts. But you have to not take hits. But even if you are taking hits, it gives you one less hit that you need to get to your heal. And it's faster to build up all of your silk hearts plus it when you have it, like, by a second. Yeah, I'll keep it there. Alright. I don't remember what this thing is called. I never used it, and it got me into trouble when I did try to use it. But basically, it turns your body into a hitbox that can push you away from enemies and deal damage to them, and obstacles. It also can push you away from obstacles, which can be very confusing when platforming. I'm thinking B tier, because there's a time and a place for this, but it's not all the time. Which is basically what all of these are. I don't think it's better than the Egophilia letting you use more spells. I think it's like right here. There's a time and a place to use this, and if you figured out some way to use it in combat, it'd probably be pretty good. Right, you use your jumping attacks to like push yourself away from enemies, reposition a little bit, and do some damage. Probably really good against flying enemies. It's probably got a use, right? It's probably good. For a standard playthrough, for my standard playthrough, I like hardly ever used it. Could it be good? Yeah, probably. But for like a standard playthrough, I think you'll get some use out of it, but not a whole lot. The Reserve Binder. You get one bind for free. On Architect, it allows you to basically reforge once, and then you could use your regular silk for healing yourself, so that's good. If you mess up with Witch Crest or Beast Crest and you don't get those heals off when you desperately need them, you could do it once more. It's not great for exploration, especially on Witch or Beast, because you still don't get base heal. So it's like you can heal one extra time. It's like there's nothing to hit to heal, though. So it's like awful for exploration. For bossing, though, it's pretty good, but isn't that what we're considering B tier? Like, more situational? There's times to use it, there's times to not. There's crests to use it on, there's crests to not. Always being able to heal an extra time is nice. There's never a time where that won't be useful, though. And just because it's not working with 2 crests, that probably should have auto regen. Maybe, like, bottom of A. I don't know. I never used it in the game. I didn't feel like I needed it. Especially once I got Ava to give me full silk when I went into boss fights. But I mean, that would allow you to heal 3 times right off the bat. Maybe that would have actually saved me like an extra heal when in emergency. Just for how good it is in bosses, maybe I should put it in A, like low A. Alright, this mask thing. It gives you 1 extra mask, but it's a little bit more than that. It's a little bit more than that. When you would take double damage if you only have 1 mask left, the mask just breaks. So it can technically protect you against even probably Grandmother's Silk, like triple hit attack. I think it probably only breaks just this mask, even if it's your only mask left. Which, that's pretty good. It basically, it's better than just like it just ignores, like, it basically ignores 1 death hit. No matter how hard the death hit is, it ignores 1 death hit, is what this skill is. It is useful, but once again, it's kind of like a sometimes thing, right? If you're doing exploration, it's not useful, probably. Like, it gives you 1 extra hit, that's nice. But, like, the multi-binder heals you an extra, right? The Weave Light gives you an extra Silk Heart, so you have to hit the enemies 1 less time to get your heal. Druid Eyes even give you more. Reserve Binder Probably should go above Druidize, but Reserve Binder should it go above Longclaw? I don't know. You can use this anywhere and it's fine. Whereas this, like, only in bosses, maybe. But I don't know. I feel like B tiers, it's like, this one is technically always useful, but only when you're about to die. So, like, the use that you actually get out of it is low, even though it's useful all the time, right? Like, its actual use cases are just, like, super low in the gutter. So, yeah. All right, now we are on to yellow. I don't think I missed any blue. I'm looking through again. I think this is a yellow, but I don't know what this is. Wow, I don't know if it's because I'm streaming or what, but geez Louise, that is taking a long time. Oh yeah, the Volt Vessels have 2 different forms you can switch between. I'll have to keep that in mind. Like, the double balls are pretty good. I hardly ever use them. Well, I'll keep going down. Shell Satchel increases the quantity of crafted tools. Steel soul mode only. Oh, that's why I didn't have that. Oh. Oh, okay. I don't feel like a moron now. That's how I got 100% without having that. All right, it increases the amount of crafted items, so you'd use less shell shards for crafting? Interesting. I mean, now that I've looked it up, I just want to put it somewhere. I mean, I don't know. It's useful. I have to restart the OST. It's useful, right? But like, I don't know. Like, I have such a weird relationship with tools because they're so powerful. But you also have to, like, grind for the resources, but this makes the grind less. But it's not like making you have a better chance at killing a boss. It's not like it's making exploration easier, it's making you grind less. How much do you value not grinding? That's basically what that's saying. Do you value not grinding as, like, important? I kind of do, but, like, is it a good tool because it stops you from grinding? Like, not really. They might even be D tier. Like, it's cool. Like, I don't have to grind as much. But it's not like that. You don't want to brag about that with your tool. The Wreath of Purity. I don't remember if the Wreath is a blue or a. I don't remember if this is a blue or a yellow. Sawtooth Circlet is the one I couldn't think of the name of. Okay, it's a blue. It's a blue. I couldn't remember if it was a blue or not. We'll keep that open in case I need that later. So the Wreath of Purity, obviously it's only useful in one zone, but it's very useful in one zone. I put it above the bell because when it is useful. Oh, and in a boss fight, in the Gruul or whatever her name was, the Chef Lagoli. So yeah. Useful in her and in Bile Water and the Putrefied Ducks, but like nowhere else. The pouch. You can actually get its name now. Dead Bug's Purse. Yeah, you can retain some rosaries upon death. Maybe somebody likes this. To me, it's F tier. Like, just don't die. But no, in all seriousness, you can just pay to have your rosaries strung up. I don't know why you would need, and you can go back and corpse run, or you can use a Silk Eater later in the game. So like the better you are at the game and the longer you play the game, the less this is important, right? You string up your rosaries, you have Silk Eaters, you're better at the game and can do runbacks easier. You do not need this taking up a slot. You are like, you're wasting your life with that as a slot being taken up. It's just dumb. The weighted belt, I think this is also F tier. Maybe less of an F tier. It like stops you from getting pushed back as much, which is like cute. But as I've already described and clearly laid out with something like Wanderer, you're hardly ever just wailing on bosses. It doesn't happen. Fourth Chorus has a hitbox in the sky. Sister Splinter has a hitbox in the sky. Father of Flame you're pogoing off of. The Kragler has a hitbox in the sky. Teleports around, blocks attacks. Flies around the room, teleports, goes underground, teleports from attacks, goes underground, teleports attacks, teleports all over the screen like a maniac, is on the walls and bounces, and you have to like pogo them, and she's on the walls the whole time, blocks your attacks with a shield and teleports around like a bazillion times. Like, it's like, I don't get pushed back as much. Like, congratulations. But it's just not good. It's not very useful, so yeah, F tier. I'm sure it's better in some boss fights over others, but like, I don't know. I played through the whole game and I was never like, man, I wish I wouldn't move back as far when I hit. Does it do something else? I feel like it might do something else. Less recoil when striking foe. Yeah, and not be flung as far while taking damage. I don't know. I don't see why that's a good thing. I want to get farther away if you punch me in the face. Please, like, let me get back. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm saying F tier. Why would you use that over anything else? The Magnetite Brooch, is that what it's called? Magnetite Brooch. Yeah. Magnetite Brooch. It gets you rosaries, but if they fall on spikes or like in lava, they're gone. S tier for a yellow? Really? But okay. Argument against that. I had like a bazillion rosaries at the end of the game, and I never used this thing. It doesn't get you more rosaries, it just helps you collect them so you don't... And you're faster picking them up if they're actually on the ground, because it takes them a while for them to like levitate into you. I'm gonna put a lot of the yellows together since it doesn't do that for some reason. The yellow. I don't know why it doesn't put all the things together. You got 100 hours because you spent them collecting them? I did have 100 hours. Do you really think this is S tier? I don't know. Okay, maybe I'll put that one last. You got it. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced, but I did have a lot of time in the game. This to me is the S tier pick. Now that I understand how they work, I didn't understand how they work until I looked it up. But basically they have a probability of blocking a hit that you're going to take. And then when you don't take a hit, the probability goes up until it's basically all but guaranteed, at least as I understand. I'm being hyperbolic, but I could never be asked to collect the rosaries. I prefer they come to me. But they're slow to come to you. They're actually slower when you kill enemies. Like, if you run over their body, and even if you have to go the other direction, if you quickly sprint one direction and turn around and go the other, it's faster than them, like, they're slow. Now, if you're killing enemies like on platforms and stuff, it's really good, right? It's really good because like when you kill enemies on platforms, they flow up to you. No, they aren't. You don't think they're slow? I might have had the Silk Speed anklets on. That's probably why. If you don't have Silk Speed anklets, I bet you can't outrun them. So yeah, you're right. They're probably not that slow. I don't know. We'll come to it. Remember, like yellow is for like exploration generally and making life easier on yourself in most situations, and it is really good for that. But magnetite, they're basic. The dice are is it magnetite? Is that what it's called? I guess so. Magnetite dice. They're basically a blue tool. I don't know why they're yellow. They're a blue tool. Chance to like just not take a hit, but in a yellow slot, like busted. I don't even remember what this thing is called. Is it a blue? Oh, it's a blue. I have to put it with the blue tools. I thought this was a yellow. This thing doesn't function like it says. This thing says it gets you more rosaries and shell shards when you use claw line and stuff on enemies, but it just pulls from their total pool that they're capable of giving you when you kill them. So it is a blue tool. It's the F-iest of F tier. When I found out that you couldn't legitimately get more from an enemy and it just pulls out some that they had in terms of their total pool, I almost vomited. It's just trash. Complete trash, and I don't want to look at it. Okay. The thorn bracelet thing. What is this thing called? Barbed bracelet. I don't even know how much extra damage it deals. You're dealing with your needle. But this is like the extreme pumped up version of like the Hunter Crest. Because with Hunter Crest, you're trying to do as much damage or try to do as many hits as possible without taking a hit, and you're rewarded for it if you're able to do it. If you take a hit, obviously that sucks. It's pretty bad, but you can get the extra damage. This gives you extra damage all the time, no work for it, but every time you get hit, you're punished just so severely. And this is for like a normal playthrough, right? But even as a good player, you're gonna make a few mistakes and take those hits. This basically undoes the multi-binder, because if you take 3 masks instead of 2 and you get hit twice, that's 6 masks of damage, and the multi-binder can only heal 4. I feel like this is also like an F tier. It's not as F tier as these. Like I could actually see using it maybe in like a gauntlet where you're pretty confident and it's just like a lot of trash ads and you want to kill them in like 1 fewer hits, and you're pretty confident in not getting hit. Maybe. Like maybe. Ultra maybe. But like, I don't know. Something that I don't know about it is if it increases spell damage. Because your spell damage is based off of your needle's damage. So if you have like your needle fully upgraded, your shaman with Volt Filament with the barbed bracelet, does that make your spells do more damage? Just your needle does, or is it just applied to the needle? I don't know. But not good. That is a red tool. The Thieves Mark. This, like, you lose rosaries, right? Gain extra rosaries from defeating enemy, but lose some on taking. If you're farming for rosaries, this is useful. So, like, it has a niche. You never use it outside of the niche, but it has a niche. It's B tier. This actually makes me think Silk Speed might be A tier. Because it's not just a niche, you're faster in combat, you can get away from attacks easier, you explore the world faster, you can make running jumps easier. Yeah, okay, so that's A tier. Might even be S. Ah, it's pushing it. The Scuttle Brace. I think it's okay, but I think you're just faster with the Silk Speed Anklet sprint in the other direction. I never really got use out of this. Now that I know you can climb on ceilings, it's kind of cool. I think it's like definition of C tier though, right? There's probably some instances you could get use out of it, but they're not clearly well defined, and yeah, it's just not all that great when it comes down to it. Not really. I'm gonna do this one now. The Ardent Grip might be the S tier. Might be the second S tier with the Magnetite dice. I don't feel as though it's necessary. And there were a lot of instances where I didn't have it on. But when you do, it's very useful, and a lot of the boss arenas as well, like you can grab onto the walls and like Nihilith, right? That's her name, right? Yeah, Nihilith. So it's useful on bosses like that, but also just like on a lot of these other fights, especially if you have walls to cling onto, it just gives you extra options where you're not sliding. It makes things easier. So it has some combative stuff. I feel like Silk Speed Anklets are in the same category though, right? Like making exploration just that much faster, making you better at combat. Like it's the same thing, right? Except it has the silk cost and stops your silk hearts from regenning, so maybe it's a little bit worse than the Ardent Grip. But this just, like, this is comfortability of exploration, especially in terms of platforming, like at its apex, is it not? Like, this to me is what Yellow Charms should be. Like, you want to have it on all the time if you could. If you take it off, it feels like the game feels weird. I feel the same way without the Silk Speed Anklets. So I think these are the S tier picks. The Shell Shardy thing. Wherever it's going is going to be lower than the Magnetite Brooch. Because getting more Shell Shards doesn't matter. You just buy Shell Shard bunches with rosaries. You never care about it. So it's definitively lower than this. It has a niche, but it's a bad niche, I guess. Because with this, you just farm enemies for a little bit, and you get more rosaries to buy the Shell Shards. But I guess you could still get some Shell Shards with this. I don't know, when you're out on the go. It's like, it has a use, but it's outclassed by something else. Like this, it has a use, but it's outclassed by something else that's way better. And its use is kind of hard to find, so... okay. And then finally, back to the Magnetite Brooch. But the one that I've been putting off. I think A. I think it might be A tier. Because it saves you from backtracking from enemies that have like fallen off huge places. Sometimes it'll save them from rolling into spikes or hazards. Rosaries are what you primarily use to buy Shell Shards. And if you just had it on the whole game, it would probably feel weird taking it off in the same way as these. But if you don't have it, or you have a lot of rosaries and you're not concerned with rosaries at the moment, then it's useless. So it's still more niche than anything. It's not more niche, but like there are times where it's not useful for you. It also can't help you in boss fights like these can either. Or in like platforming sections like these can help you with platforming. So I'd say it's A tier. You got 100 hours of the game. I did. When I finished the game, I actually did. Can you believe it? Okay, but there were a few nights where after I stopped streaming, I left to go get dinner and I let it run. So it's probably bloated a bit. But I spent a long, it's probably like at least 80 or 90 like true hours probably. So I probably only let it run for like a half an hour while I was like eating dinner, maybe an hour if I had to like go out, like, you know, but yeah. Isn't that nuts, though? It was a long game. It was a long game, man. Hard glazer. Maybe I should open a donut shop and I could glaze all the donuts. What do you think? We could call it the Hard Glazer. Oh, that's such a good name for a donut shop. What am I doing? I need to stop. Okay, I need to poop. I'm gonna buy a real BRB 1 sec. Okay, I am back. Welcome to Hard Glazer's Donut Shop. Can I take your order? It's a funny name. I thought about that the whole time. You're gonna start calling me the Wild Glazer. Hey, okay, if you're gonna glaze for a game, it's gotta. I'm critical of this game though. I mean, look at all the stuff I have in C, D, and F tier. The F tier is bigger than the D tier. Like, the D tier is like a non-offensive. Maybe you get some use out of it. Maybe it stops you from grinding a little bit more. That's what this does too. That's all that this does too. It stops you from grinding. Like, this is actually, you kill enemies, you don't have to go chase after them, but these just stop you from grinding less. They suck. Okay. I'm assuming this is better. Which one of these is better? To get more shell shards or to crafting costs less? I don't know how much the costing less is. Maybe it's above it. No, but this does let you grind for enemies you know you can get a lot of shell shards for, so I'll put that there. Out of all the games you're glazing, is Goober game hard? Maybe. The Silk Glazer? Silk is so cool. I wish I could make silk in my shell. Whatever. You know what I mean. I'd become the master weaver in no time. The master. That sounds weird. This isn't really in the game. You only have this for a side quest, so it's F tier. This is for a side quest, you know? We're on to red tools. Sorry, I didn't even mention this. We're on to red tools now. This was for a side quest. Yeah, I was thinking that. I was thinking being the master baiter. But I that's why I was kind of chuckling to myself, because I was thinking that. That's scary, that same thought. Quite scary. No, I know. But Master Weaver is okay, right? It's still, there's something wrong with saying that, because I even said it now and it didn't sound right. Maybe like the Weaver Lord? Yeah, that sounds better, right? The Weaver Lord versus the Master Weaver. I don't know. We'll think about it. We'll think about names to give, like, maybe just the Silk Spinner. That doesn't sound cool enough, does it? The Weavelight Lord. Nah, that's too gaudy. Oh, I'll think about it. I'll think about it. All right, Flea Brew. It makes you attack faster and move faster for a while. It's pretty good, but you have to go back and refill it. You have to go back and refill it. But it's good. I don't think it's like overly powerful though. I think it's like solid C tier. Maybe B. The extra... No, I'm putting it in C because remember, attack speed doesn't matter. It doesn't matter against like 80% of the enemies in this game because they just stay out of your way, like the Pinterest and stuff. Like, oh, I'm flying in the sky, you can't hit me. Or the conch fly guys. They're like, we're going across the screen, you can hit us once. Now we're out of the screen. Now we're back in the screen, you can hit us once. Now we're out of the screen. And maybe this lets you hit them like twice or 3 times with like Wanderers or something. But like, for the most part, it's like, it's okay. The movement speed's nice, I guess, but you could just Silk Speed anklets, permanent movement speed bursts, like, yeah. Hacks. I think tacks are B tier. They don't work against all enemies, especially like Sister Splinter that flies. Maybe when she hits the ground, she can take them. Probably wouldn't do much against the Morwing. Would be kind of useless against Chakra, the Pinterest, the Pale Stag. Completely useless against Nihilith. She's only on the walls. So like, Grandmother Silk is floating, so it wouldn't hurt her. So it doesn't work against all enemies if they're like flying or floating or on the walls. But when it does work, they're pretty good. The Volt Vessels, these have the 2 forms. The double balls I didn't use enough, but they're actually really powerful. They might be even more powerful than the Pimpillo in terms of like bomb things. And then the one that you stick in the ground and can whack with your needle and like change its direction. I did not use the bombs enough. They might be S tier. They're A tier for sure. They might be S tier. They might be, the double balls, although hard to use, are very powerful, and just the stake in the ground is good too. Kind of unruly though. They're harder to use. I'll keep it in S tier for now, because immediately I like it. The Delver's Drill. I learned something about the Delver's Drill I didn't know. If you use it and you don't hit an enemy, it doesn't use its charges, and you can replace a pogo you don't like by just using it out of combat. I didn't know that. So you don't like how the Beast Crest feels to use its pogo while exploring? This gives you the ability to downward pogo and it doesn't use its charges. Which is nuts. That right there immediately gives it B tier status, and I think that's probably where it belongs. It has a niche, it's good, it is not better than tax for damage. It is good on, well actually probably is if you land it. It's kind of hard to land, but it has utility outside of combat. There's a lot of enemies that don't let you drill on them. Once again, bosses that teleport around, Pale Stag, Sister Splinter, not really reasonable. But then you also have the Kraggler, is on the ceiling, Sister Splinter is on the ceiling, right? So if they're on the ceiling, it's not really going to help you either. So teleports on the ceilings, flying enemies is going to be kind of hard if they're flying up above you, and you have to hit them from below. So, but it's got its use. Curve Claw. I feel like Curve Claw is decent damage. It's okay damage. It's okay. It's okay. Compared to the Curve Sickle, which has a lot more, it seems. But the Curve Claw's okay. I don't think I'd give it A tier. I don't think it's that good. Curve Sickle, I'll give A tier. How's that? Curve Claw does good damage. It has that weird roundabout thing. It's pretty good. The Curve Claw does a lot of damage because it can multi-hit some large bosses lots of times. Right, towards the end of its arc. But they'd have to be big. They'd have to be, and I say big, I mean like tall. Like, I bet you could technically hit Sister Splinter. Yeah, actually, now that I'm looking at the list, you could probably multi-hit a lot of these guys. Because, like, you definitely could the Savage Beast Fly. Yeah, Skull Tyrant. Sister Splinter would be hard, but you could do it with a jump. The Last Judge you could do it on. But then some of these would be, like, probably pretty hard. But yeah, I feel comfortable putting it in B and then the Curved Sickle in A tier. Because, like, the only time it does the multi-hit is at the end of its traversal path. So you have to be, like, at the right distance. But I've always liked these weapons. They are extremely useful in hitting both ground enemies and air enemies. And sometimes you can hit the same enemy twice. It's just, like, they're great. Like, I love them. Out of all the projectile weapons, I thought they were the most fun, the most usable, and the easiest to kill stuff with. Just, like, in general. It was great. This thing. I have no idea what this thing is called. Snare Setter. It used Silk. You have to use Silk for it, and you only get it for, like, a portion of the game. If you want the final ending, you have to give it up, which I think is stupid. Why do I have to give up my thing to get the final? Like, that's dumb. I hate when games do that. Like, you have this cool tool, but you don't get to use it anymore because you want the final ending. Goodbye, say goodbye to it. It's definitely worse than like, Flea Brew, which you have to restock because you only get this. I think, but it's powerful, right? I'm not giving it enough credit. If you use it as intended, it's really good. It also uses up a Silk, though. You use up one Silk. If you just used a heal, especially if you have Weave Light on, you'll get your first couple strands back real quick. Your first one comes back automatically really quick. Then you get one more. I guess because if you used it right after a heal, maybe there's some use to it. But it also needs to be repaired. It doesn't just use Silk. It also has charges. I'm gonna say C tier. When it goes off, it seems to be really powerful. The animation to it's also really long. Like, huge, long, ugly animation. And I think C tier, but it could be D. We'll put it in C for now. Probably gonna stay there if I'm gonna be honest. The Chakra's rings, the chakrams. What are they actually called? Throwing ring. Okay, the chakram. Throwing ring. I'm thinking D. And the reason why I'm thinking D is because the Curve Claw, the Conch Cutter, or if you have enemies on the ground, this wheel thing. Actually, I just think it's outclassed. I'm just gonna be real. Is it not outclassed by, like, everything that you throw? What can you throw that's, like, worse than it? The straight pin that you get in, like, the early hours of the game? It's just not very good. It should be better. I don't know what they could do to make it better. Maybe it needs more ricochets, because it can kind of ricochet, right? Not like the... Maybe it needs to ricochet more like the Conch Cutter, but even more, but do less damage, so it's just, like, all over the screen. I don't know. I want to like it, but I can't. It's just not very good. It's just too weak. My little Robo Bugs friend. I think Cogflies have to be S tier. Exploration, they are S tier. In boss fights, a lot of times they just annihilate the boss with you because you're doing damage at the same, like, simultaneously as them. Whereas, like, other items, when you throw them, you can't be attacking the same time you're throwing them. Your damage opportunity is you attacking, but they attack simultaneously. you have 4 of these out, they're attacking while you are throwing conch cutters, throwing curved sickles, attacking with your needle, casting a spell. It's damage that's happening when you're doing other things. So your damage windows when you have them are huge. But they also kill a whole bunch of adds in gauntlet fights, especially if like the gauntlet fight is like before a boss. Or just when you're exploring, they annihilate things. They make the not escort quests, but the courier the courier quests like way easier because you can just have them up, and like they kill stuff when you're journeying. Absolute S tier cogfly, no question. This wheel thing that I never used because it was only on the ground. Cog work wheel. It's really good, but really niche, and I think it should be B tier, below the Delver's Drill. You don't get the cool pogo off of it or anything, and it only works on the ground, but it multi-hits and does a lot of damage. If you have a boss that's not on the ceiling, or on a wall, or on a lava, or it's just not touching the ground at all or whatever, it's really good. But if you have a flying enemy, it's trash. If you have a boss on the ceiling, it's extra trash. So, like, it's got its use. When it works, it does a lot of damage. When it doesn't, it goes to garb. So, B tier. The conch cutter. I really like this thing. It's kind of tricky to use because you throw it, like, at the ground. But when you throw it at an enemy, it goes, like, and does, like, I think it does more damage than the other weapons. It's hard to tell because I don't see damage numbers, but I feel like it's really good. Is it better than Curve Claw? Probably not. Maybe. It's more fun to use. I think it might do more damage than the Curve Claw, base Curve Claw. I don't know about the Curve Sickle. But not even just in terms of damage. It is really easy to hit enemies with this thing. And to get the multi-hits off are really easy too. Like, it's actually really easy to use. You just get kind of close to an enemy, or you can jump up into the air like above their attacks and just press the button and it flings it downwards. So it's guaranteeably like in their face. Versus like when you jump, you can't get the straight pins on them. You can't get the long pins on them, right? Because they're going like forward as projectiles. But this you can use in the air and just hit them with it. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool, a lot of damage, really easy to use. Better projectile than some of the normal, so I'm going to put it in B. Flint Slate. I think this might be S tier. I think Flint Slate is S tier. I'm going to put Cogflies above the Volt Vessels, and I'm going to put the Flint Slate above the Volt Vessels as well. I think Flint Slate's one of the best weapons in the game, or like best red tools in the game, if you can set it up and land your hits on bosses. And there's a lot that goes with to making it stronger. Like, there's a lot of little things that you could use to really amp up your damage, right? So, like, for instance, you have the Hunter Crest, and you're hitting the enemy multiple times and you built up your boost, and then you activate it, then you've just done like a huge burst of damage in a small period of time. If you're using Wanderer Crest that has just quick attack speed, then you're just hitting the enemy a lot more with it. With Witch Crest, you're doing the charge. You do the charge attack with Witch Crest, and you have the pin badge, and you have it all boosted with Flint Slate, and you do the spin, you go like, I don't know how much damage it is, but it's probably a lot. Like, I don't know. I feel it's so strong. And it's strong of your just base attacks already. And it magnifies it in quite a dramatic way. It also has interactions with the poison, although from what I understand, it lowers the base damage. So although it does poison ticks, the base damage is lower. So if you're only hitting the enemies here and there, like they're teleporting around a lot, you hit them once, they move, hit them once, they move, you'd probably be doing more damage, but if you actually have a DPS window, it would be less because the base is lowered. But I don't know by how much. It has great synergy with Flea Brew. Yeah, it's really, really strong. And because it's based upon your needle, one use of it can get you way more damage. Like, it's more economic than the other ones. I I don't know where to put the guns. I don't know where to put the guns other than this one. This is the one I used. What are they called? The Silk Shot. There's the original the 12th Architect and the Forge Daughter. I never used the other ones. I wanted the original one, and it was like, it's a really fast shot, and I think it's okay. But the other ones, I don't even remember what they do. One of them's like a rapid fire, which I thought sounded kind of cool. And then the other one, what does it do? I think I need a new tier. Yeah, I don't even know, so I'm just gonna add a new tier. Didn't use or couldn't use. Sure. Because, like, I don't know, right? Like, unless I can't put them in F or D tier, right? Doesn't make any sense if I just don't know what they do. The original Silk Shot was better than this, but it uses silk. So you could be saving that silk to use a spell, which is going to do way more damage. But these are useful. It's like a full screen wide shot that hits enemies. I really liked it. I don't know. But I just wish it didn't cost silk. If you've already did a bind and your silk heart is regenerating your stuff, especially with Weavelight to make your other silk hearts and itself regenerate even faster, it's not that big of a deal. The silk isn't that big of a hurdle, but you still have to repair it too. So you also only still get so many shots with it, even though it's using silk. It's pretty high cost. Nothing else uses silk here. And if you were just using like the conch cutter and you had Weavelight on, you would just be regenerating, and let's say you just healed yourself. You'd be generating all that silk up to all your silk hearts faster. You wouldn't be delaying it just to do damage when you could do damage with something else that doesn't delay your silk gen. So, I don't know. I feel like it's C tier. The long pin. I feel like this is just another bad projectile. Am I wrong? I feel like the only use these have is with the poison polyp. Is it polyp pouch? Poison polyp? What is this thing called? I like don't know. The polyp pouch. Okay, yeah. But in that case, what you would just use the chakra rings or straight pin, which are also both really weak weapons, right? The rings do a little bit more, I guess, and they can ricochet. And the long pin does do more damage, but I also don't like its arc either. It can be a little easier to hit flying enemies, but like harder to hit everything else. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it can be hard to hit anything else with it. I don't know. It's just like I don't see why you would want to use it over the curve claw. That's easier to hit with, and it can hit flying enemies just as easy. Same with the conch cutter. Honestly, even if you throw it at the ground, you'll probably ricochet off and hit a flying enemy. But it does do more damage than these two, so I guess it can stay in D tier, but just above them. Like, I'm never gonna use it. I'd rather use the Silk Shot and just only plan on using it when I'm low on silk, or even when I'm not. It just does more damage and it goes so much faster and farther. So yeah. This bomb thing, Plimpillo bomb explosion thing, I also don't remember the name of. The Pimpillo, yep, okay. I knew it was something like that. It has so much damage, but you don't get very many shots of them. But they're very powerful. And I feel like that puts it in B automatically, somewhere in here. It's not as useful as the Curve Claw. It's not as useful as the Curve Claw. It's not as useful or as easy to hit or as powerful potentially as the Conch Cutter if you hit at close range and it's multi-hitting. So I don't think so. Damage numbers don't exist. But it hits really hard when you use it, even if you don't get many shots with it. You can use it as like a nuke on some bugs. It has its use, but it's not great. Plasmium File. Yeah, it's S tier, even if you're not overdosing. It's like quick extra heals. If you're just using it for quick extra heals and that's all you do, you're on Reaper Crest, and you just use this to just give yourself some extra HP at the start of a fight, right? Or in mid-fight you need a little bit extra heal, but you don't have time to do a full bind, just one extra mask. And it levitates you in the air while using it too. I think it's S tier. It's not offensive, it's only defensive. I think it's better than the Volt Vessels. It might be the best in the game. I don't know if it's better than Cogflies. It helps with exploration too. You know you're going on a tricky platforming segment. You need some extra HP to act as a buffer, or you just want extra health. You got it. I don't know. It's really good. There's no instances where it's not good, especially since it gives you hang time in the air. If you use it to like jump and attack and give yourself some extra HP. And with the Architect, full lifeblood trick, it's just insane. So it has to be S tier. The Rosary Cannon tier. Technically less F tier than that thing. It shoots rosaries, but you could use those rosaries to purchase shell shards, which you could use to use any other weapon in the game, like even the pin. And you might be like, well, the straight pin probably does less damage than this thing. And you're probably right, but not with the polyp pouch. Now, you could use this thing with the polyp pouch too. I tried that too, but there's like this delay. There's like a startup animation before you go, and to do it just to shoot one, not only is it kind of hard to do to only shoot one, but like you're in a much longer animation versus throwing the straight pin is just like it's done, right? So I think this is F tier. I don't think there's any reason a sane person would ever use this thing. Just put poison polyp on pins if you want quick projectiles. Or if you want expensive things to use your rosaries on, then just use these guys and spam stuff. And then use all your rosaries to buy shell shard bundles that get, that allow you to use them more. This is just a throwing away rosaries that could be used on more powerful weapons. So, F tier. I'm actually going to do the threefold pin first. And I think the threefold pin is bad. I think it's less bad than the straight... I think it's worse than straight pin. I feel like they're hard to hit with. Like, you can't hit with all three of them as easily. The arc of the straight pin makes it easier to hit flying enemies. I think it does more damage. I don't like threefold pin. I don't remember if like, when you're close to enemies... I don't know if I tested this enough. I think this is one of the ones I got off stream. Maybe I just didn't test it enough. But I think it works like shotgun logic, where if you hit with all three, it does more damage, but if you only hit with one, it doesn't. So if you are hitting a flying enemy and it's only with like the top one, you might as well just go with the straight pin and just do more damage. It's fine. It's just a projectile that's weak, but yeah. And finally, the first one that I ever got in the game, the first red item, the Sting Shard. I can't pull it back down into the abyss. The Sting Shard. This is a really good weapon. It might be S tier. I think it might be bottom of S tier. So I'm also thinking about flying enemies. Like this you could put into the ground, whack it, blow them up. But like this you can throw into the sky. It's good on bosses. It doesn't matter if they're on the ground, in the sky. It doesn't really matter what they are. This is always usable. Sometimes you can even set it up and detonate it yourself by thwacking it, and then the spikes shoot out and like kill an enemy. It's awesome. So I think it's S tier. It's not as good as some of these other ones, but like, our A tier for red weapons is looking a little bit scarce, ain't it? Should I put Conch Cutter up in A? And maybe Sting Shard up there too? I think it's better. I think it's better than the Conch Cutter. Well, I don't know. I think Conch Cutter does more damage up close. This is why we need damage numbers. We need damage numbers because all three of these are both useful. All of these are useful, but I wish I knew how much they were doing. I feel like Conch Cutter hits a lot. This thing is utility is unparalleled, but I guess same with Sting Shard. Assuming this does more damage, I would put Conch Cutter here. Probably Curved Sickle here because it's full projectile and Sting Shard, and this would be how I set it up. But I'm not sure. I think I need to pull Volt Vessels down. Because you can hit flying enemies with them. The double ball form hits really hard. But I don't know how much harder than like Conch Cutter. And it is kind of hard to use. Kind of. It's pretty. The stake version's easier to use than the balls. The balls, it depends upon what boss you're fighting. So I think probably right here, I think bottom of A is more fair. Because like these are on another level. These are insane, right? I think that's it. I think that's my first tier list. I did it, guys. Is there anything that stands out as like just egregiously bad take? Do I have any egregiously bad takes here? It is, and it's already 5:35. My folks are wanting to eat early, so I probably won't. I definitely won't have time to do the boss tier list today. But I should be free Friday, so I'll be back on Friday. And we can do it then. I didn't get to check out the Lords of the Fallen stuff. I want to check that out. I didn't think I'd take so long to make a tier list. I've never done it before. I had obviously a lot to say, but yeah, I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this. It feels right, you know. Maybe there's some stuff that's wrong, you know. Maybe some of these like red weapons don't really add all that much. I think I put way more value on Druid's Eyes than a lot of players because I took damage, like I'd get hit. But just having 2 more silk I think is so insane. I don't even think people realize that. Once again, you combine that with like Weave Light or something like that, you have 4 silk that you generate naturally, then you get an extra 2 for taking 2 hits. Assuming they weren't double mask hits, like that's great. That's a ton of silk to play around with. And you get Reaper that has a little bit more from its heal. Like, yeah, so I probably value it more than other players do, despite it having to take damage. But I mean, here's regular Druid's Eye, and I mean, it's just not very economic. Plus, you're comparing it to its you know, older sibling essentially. But yeah, I think I'm happy with this. There you go. Hollowknight, Silksong, all Crest, and all tools tier list. Dang, I can't believe it's already so late. How long have I been streaming? Wow. Oh man, I am crazy. It says I've been live for 2 hours 51 minutes. It's almost a 3-hour tier list for all of this. Oh my gosh. Holy crap. Oh, man. Oh. This is really fun. Yeah, I definitely need to do this. I don't think I can be on tomorrow, but I'll be on Friday. I can be on Friday, so we'll do the boss tier list on Friday then. It'll probably be the same thing, probably another like 3 hours. So I have a lot to say on the bosses too. Alrighty, but yeah, I'm gonna get something to eat. I don't know what my folks want to do for dinner, but I guess I'll find out. I'll find out, but they're wanting to eat. So, yeah, I'm kind of hungry too. I haven't eaten since yesterday. I mean, that's normal. I generally don't eat. Yeah. But anyways, that's all for today, guys. Thanks for sticking around. You know, just having fun, just chatting. Like, the game's still giving us content, and we're not even playing it, right? But yeah, we'll do the boss tier list on Friday, and I'll see you guys then. I'm wild. And I'll catch you in the next one.